Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and I am so excited that you decided to take time out of your day to spend with me because today we are doing a little bit of a romantasy reading vlog. I'm just in the mood to read some romantasies and that's what we're gonna do, okay? I don't know how many is gonna be in here. We're just gonna go until I think we have had enough, and I'm really excited. There are some books that, I've been wanting to read in this vlog, so I don't want to hold you too long. Let us just go ahead and hop into these books. Okay, so let's talk about For Whom the Bell Tolls. And I, this was not what I was expecting in any way, but I mean that in the best way possible. Like, I just was not, I don't know what I was thinking I was going to get out of this, but yeah. So I was worried going in that this was going to be too sad for me because our main character, Lily, had a terminal illness and ended up dying from it. But there was a lot of good comedic relief in this, like within all the heavy topics that were discussed. And so it just made it feel easier to digest and not as like sad. I'm not saying that it wasn't sad because there are definitely some things that like were sad, but the comedic relief offered really helped in this situation and just made it bearable. I think that's what I'm trying to say. The relationship between Lily and Belle was very cute and I really enjoyed it. I'm usually not a friends to lovers type girl, but this one worked for me. I feel like their chemistry and banter was top tier from the beginning. They had me laughing, and if you could make me laugh, like, you got me. And so their connection felt really genuine and very like easy to believe from jump. So I was, I was here for it. I was along for the ride. I really liked the discussions of religious trauma and deconstruction in this. I think it was done in a way that no matter which side you stand on, you can find something to relate to and also something to make you think and kind of wonder why. And I liked that part of it. Like, yeah, make me think, make me, wonder about some things. So I enjoyed that part of it. Well, not the trauma part, but you know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. There, like I mentioned, were some heavier themes, and I think the content and trigger warnings should definitely be checked before you go into this. Just take care of yourself and be nice to yourself. There's some things in here that could be not great for you. So if you plan on picking this book up off of my recommendation, please check that out beforehand. Just to be sure, And speaking of one of those, this talks a lot about motherhood and a lot about wanting kids and what that looks like. And so if you feel some type of way about that, or if it's just something that you're not interested in, then I don't know if this would be the book for you because it is a large part about, it's a large, what am I trying to say? Lily talks about it a lot because it's something that really weighs heavy on her. So if you weren't a fan of it, just leave it alone for me. I really, the setting of the afterlife I really enjoyed, and just how the whole thing was set up was very cool and very different. And I just really I liked that. I don't want to really go into detail to kind of ruin it for you, but just like how people are sorted into their places, for lack of a better word, was very interesting, and the details and how everything is set up. It was cool. It was cool. It was interesting to learn about. And I really like that it integrated characters that you know from mythology, but also like religious characters as well. Like we're meeting Persephone, but we're also meeting God. And I'm like, yeah. Because all those people belong in the same place. But it worked. It worked and I was a fan and it was cool. It was a good time. But I really honestly believe that this book just found me at the right time. And I love that there are situations like that when it comes to reading. Like it's not just, and some of it is just a lot of fluff and whatever and made up stories, but the fact that a made up story from someone's mind can find you in the right place and just be what you need for that moment, it's why I read. And this book was that for me in that moment. And I'm really happy that I picked it up. I rated this book at 4.5 star. I'm excited that this is going to be a series. I don't know who we're going to follow next, but like I said, I just really enjoy the world so much that I can't wait to be back with these characters in this setting and learning more about all the stuff that's going on because it's a thick book and a lot of stuff went on. So yeah, and I do think it has a really good rereadability quality as well because some books they're just one and done and you just kind of know that when you read it. Like, but this feels like it has rereadability quality, and I'm excited to do that eventually. Yeah. All right, y'all. So I have finished the Rose Bargain and it is time for us to talk about it. Okay. So it says for 400 years, England has been under the control of an immortal fake queen who tricked her way onto the throne. To maintain an illusion of benevolence, Queen Moore grants each of her subjects one opportunity to bargain for their deepest desires. As Ivy Benton prepares to make her debut, she knows that not even a deal with the Queen could fix what has gone wrong. Her family's social standing is in shambles, her sister is a shadow of her former self, and Ivy's marriage prospects are non existent. So, when the Queen announces a competition for Prince Bram's hand, Ivy is the first to sign her name in blood. What a bargain can't fix, a crown certainly could. Ivy soon finds herself a surprising frontrunner with the help of an unexpected ally, Prince Bram's brother, the rakish Prince Emmett, who promises to help Ivy win his brother's heart for a price. But as the season sweeps Ivy away with glittering balls, veiling the Queen's increasingly vicious trials, Ivy realizes there's more at stake than just a wedding, because all fairy bargains come with a cost, and Ivy may have discovered hers too late. Let's talk about the Rose Bargain. I am looking at my notes because, that's just what I did. First off, I would just say that I really enjoyed this. I have been struggling a little bit with YA recently, and I was nervous about picking this up. But you're gonna have a time. A time was had, and it was a good one. And I'm happy that I did decide to take a chance on it. I ended up reading it from the library just because I wasn't sure what was gonna happen. But yeah, Ivy is definitely the kind of main character that I find myself loving to root for and like really being invested in. I feel like she is, strong minded, knows what she's looking for. She's not, even though she was sheltered to a degree, she is not letting that stop her from playing the game. And I love that. Love that for her. From jump, I had a preference for which brother. If you can't tell, this is going to be a love triangle situation, okay? And I had my preference from jump, and I usually feel like I pick the same type of person. I love a broody type, love a moody type, hidden in the shadows kind of type, that's usually the person I pick in the love triangle. So I'm not going to tell you who that is because I feel like that's a little spoilery, but once you read the book, you will know. You will know. Not saying, I have the best choices, but I might have picked correctly. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, so the inclusions of the riddles in this made it so much more fun for me and kind of interactive because as the riddles were being given to the girls, I was also trying to solve them. And I will not tell you how many I got wrong or how many I got right because it's not your business. But I will say it was fun trying to figure it out alongside Ivy and the other girls in the competition. There's a scene that happens, okay? There's a scene that happens and I was like, no, this ain't real. This ain't real. I just knew it wasn't real. And look, I was wrong. And Ivy, her girl Ivy. I have no words and I'm gonna keep it that vague. But when you read this book, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Cause okay, Ivy, I see you. I see you, girl. Now, while I was reading this book, I thought it was a standalone. I did not know it was going to be a series. So by the time I got to the end, I was like, what in the confusion? This can't be the ending. And it was not because it's supposed to be a series. I think it's actually the sequel is like the Thorn Queen or something like that. And it's supposed to be out in like July-ish. I could totally be lying, but that's what's coming to my head. I know it's coming out in 2026. So yeah. I did not know that though going in. I don't know why I thought it was going to be a standalone, but I did. And I was bamboozled because I probably would have waited a little longer to read it. Because when I tell you I read books and sometimes they stay with me and sometimes they don't. And I feel like when it comes to series, I am constantly rereading books. I mean, I like rereading anyway, but sometimes I have to because I just don't. It doesn't stick with me. And then, as far as the trials and the competition for Prince Bram's heart or whatever, whoever is going to be the next queen, princess, whatever they're trying to get to, this competition wrapped up very quickly for me, and I was so confused because there was a good bit of book left, and I was like, so where is this gonna go? Because it has to go somewhere, and I was very confused. But then we had plot reveals happening and things going crazy, and I feel like the ending was very much like abrupt and not even. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say the ending had a lot going on, and it felt like it was rushed, and everything was just kind of packed in. And I'm hoping that once we get to this sequel, it's fleshed out and some explanations are made because it felt like it was just a whole lot of information dumped on us and a whole lot of things moving at one time. And you over here, and then you over there, and then you over there, and then you back here. And I'm just like, you taking me too fast, Sasha. Sasha, you taking me too fast, and I need some explanations because you can't just be dropping this information and all this stuff and all these things happening and not like going into depth with why and how. So I'm hoping that when this sequel comes out, we get some explanations because look, I'm struggling. I was struggling with that ending and I need her to make it make sense in this next book. I rated this book a 4 star. I had such a fun time with this. I think the Rose Bargain for me was, while it was fun and while, we had a time, there were also some, you know, heavier topics discussed, some good commentary in this as well. And it was different from what I was expecting, but in a very good way. I do think this is something that, I will recommend. And like I said, I do plan to continue on and figure out what is going to happen because everybody was just left in an awful place and we gotta, we gotta figure this out, right? But anyway, yes, so that is the Rhodes Bargain, and let's see what we decide to pick up next. Okay, so I'm coming back with not so great news, and that is that I have decided to DNF Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair. Yeah. And, I wish I could say that I'm upset by it, but I was very hesitant about picking this book up to begin with, which is why I did not buy it. I waited and got it from the library, and I'm glad that I made that choice because I ended up DNFing it at about 57% in, which is about roughly 275 pages. So I feel like I gave it a fair shot. I gave it a fair shot, and it just wasn't working for me. To start off with, I did enjoy Lilith as a main character, even though I felt like she could be stubborn sometimes and kind of annoying in that way that a lot of women main characters can be annoying in fantasy books where they just feel like the rules don't apply to them even though they apply to literally every other person in the world and they can just defy systems that have been in place probably longer than they've been alive. But I, gave Lilith some grace because she did have, a hard life and that the world that she lived in was just really shitty. And so, I was trying to give her grace through the foolery that she was throwing, but, sometimes it was a little hard. It was a little hard. I think that this book would have worked better for me if we got more of Zahar Reeves. Is that his name? That's how I'm gonna say it anyway. If we got more of his point of view and his side of things, I was happy that we were getting it at all because Scar is that her name? Scarlet? Her name is Scarlet. Why do I keep thinking that's wrong? I don't know. But thinking about the Hades and Persephone series that I read, where we had to read separate books to get our um, love interest POV. She had the Persephone books and then she had the Hades books, and those POVs did not come together until the seventh and final book of the series. So I'm happy it wasn't like that, but I feel like we didn't get enough of his point of view. We only got like snippets here and there, and I feel like had we been more in his head, it would have worked better for me personally. I found the religious aspects of this and the memories that we got from Lilith and just learning about how the whole religious system worked was very interesting. I don't really know a whole lot about Catholicism, and I feel like this is closest to that. I could very well be wrong and correct me if I am, but that is what I'm guessing anyway. The vibe I was getting. Lilith's lack of self preservation and the care for her own and lack of care for her own personal safety was very annoying to me because why don't you care about yourself? Why are you now more concerned about your person staying alive and not bad things have like I feel like nobody wants bad things to happen to them, but also as a person who has had a series of bad things happen to them, you would think she would be just a little more careful with herself, but she was not. And the only reason that she was able to move like she was because of who she was and who she was related to. But it was like she used that when she needed it, but when she felt like it wasn't beneficial to her, she was like, ugh, no, like I don't want that. I'm not that person. I'm not. And I'm like, girl, you cherry picking what part of your or choosing when to be proud of who you are because it benefits you in certain situations, but then when it doesn't, and it, I, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Do I even understand what I'm trying to say at this point? But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I also, this may be mildly spoilery. I don't think so, but I'm gonna try to keep it very vague and say that the glob situation, and I'm just gonna leave it like that, the globs that we encountered throughout this story, I did not like. I was not enjoying that. It was giving flubber. And it made it very hard to take this book seriously. And I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. I feel like there was somewhere else we could have went that didn't involve globs. And that was really when I was like, Yeah, I'm gonna put this book down because I was already like struggling to press through, and then you're gonna give me that bull. That's when I know I had to sit down. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And so those are my thoughts on Terror at the Gates. I have heard that it is working for a lot of people and a lot of people like it, but baby, I guess I'm in the minority on that one because it didn't do anything for me, which is unfortunate because I do like Scarlett St. Clair, but I also knew that just from hearing the synopsis that it was a large possibility that it wasn't going to work for me, and it did. And that's okay. I ain't spent my money on it, so I didn't lose anything. We're good. On to the next book. Okay, so we're going to round this video out with talking about a series. It's a duology, and the first book will be a reread that I decided to do in anticipation or in preparation, I guess, for the sequel that came out a couple of months ago. So that first book is going to be Lord of the Wilds by Annalise Sobrano. And if you don't know, we can read a little bit of the synopsis. And it says, in a land ruled by ruthless Fae, 21-year-old Lore LMAU's village is trapped in a forested prison. Lore knows that any escape attempt is futile. Her scars are a testament to her past failures. But when her village is threatened, Lore makes a desperate deal with the Fae Lord. She convinces him that she will risk her life for wealth, but really she's after the one thing the Fae covet above all, magic of her own. As Lore navigates the hostile world outside, she's forced to rely on two Fae males to survive. When undeniable chemistry ignites, she's not just in danger of losing her life, but also her heart to the very creatures she can never trust. So a large part of this is that Lore gets this job working in this enchanted library that the Fae cannot access. Apparently there's this important text in it, but Fae can't get into the library, and so Lore, being a human, strikes up a deal to work in this enchanted library to find the text in exchange to create a better life situation for her and her people. Okay? And this is also a love triangle between these two dudes back here, if you can't tell already. So this felt very similar to my first read of this. I don't really know what I was expecting, but I was expecting to have different feelings for whatever reason. I did, however, there's a plot twist, a really big plot twist in this book. And since I already knew what it was, I was looking for clues. Okay, I was being a detective trying to figure out if, I could see where we got this from, because the first time I was so flabbergasted. I was like, what the heck? Like, I did not see that coming. Was I not just paying attention, or like what? But this time I wanted to be able to catch it. And friends, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, I didn't catch it again. I don't know. Is something wrong with me? I was looking for clues and I did not find them. I did not. But what I will say, what changed this time was that with the love triangle, reading this the first time, I was on one side, but this time I was on a different side, and that made my reading experience a little different. I will say though that Lore is very impulsive, and as a main character, sometimes I don't love that, because y'all just be doing stuff and not really be thinking it through, and I be needing y'all to think it through and plan things before you just jump and do them. Like, make it make sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? And Lore doesn't always make it make sense before she do stuff. She just be jumping and doing. It's also a thing, like, you don't care about yourself? Like, you just gonna throw yourself into these dangerous situations? And I know like people will do whatever for their people because I'm one of those, but I'm also like, I will do whatever with a plan. I will do whatever as long as it makes sense. I will do whatever, but also I want to stay alive, you know? And Lord, I don't feel like she had that. She had it, and it was kind of kind of a little annoying just to watch because I'm like, girl, come on now. So yeah, this was a very fun, very quick read. I feel like both times I just kind of flew through this. This is not a long book at all, and I really enjoy how fast paced it is. Annalie got in, did what she needed to do, and got on back out. And I love that. Like, you don't have to give us a thick tome to tell a story. And I feel like she told a really great story in this short amount of pages, and I was here for it. I rated this the same thing I did the first time I read it, and that was a 3.5 star. I really enjoyed it. I don't know that I love this book, but I definitely like it enough to recommend it, and like it was almost there. It was almost there. And I think, it's just I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book upon reread. So I also, directly after reading Lord of the Wilds, went ahead and picked up the sequel, which is Lord of the Tides. And this is the finale of the duology. It kind of picks right up where Lord of the Wilds uh left off. And I will say, when I heard about the title to this book, I was like, what? We going from a magical library to underwater? How Annalise gonna make this make sense? Like, I was just really worried that I was not going to vibe, or it wasn't going to make sense as far as the overall story for me. But I was wrong. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you up front, I was wrong, and I was happy to be wrong in this situation. So yeah, I'm not gonna really tell you about the plot of this one. I'm just gonna tell you about how I felt, but I'm never gonna spoil a book for you, friend. So yeah, I really enjoyed seeing Laura's. I said I wasn't gonna spoil it, but that might that might have done it, friend. I'm glad I caught myself. I'm gonna say it this way. I enjoyed learning more about Lore and Lore's people and her character development and story arc throughout this sequel. We got a lot of background information that I felt like, we were missing in the first book, so I was happy about that. That's how I'm gonna say it. Yeah. So friends, something happened in Lord of the Wilds, and it was that plot twist that I was just talking about. And because of that plot twist, we now have a bad relationship with one of the people in the triangle. And one thing that I was not wanting was a redemption arc for this character. Like, he did what he did with his full chest, and no, you can't come back from that. And I was happy to see Lore standing on business. Like, she was recognizing the feelings that she had, and like, yeah, feelings don't go away that quickly, but she was also standing on business. Like, you did what you did, and like, I can never forgive you for that. And like, yeah, and even though there was an attempt at a redemption arc, it wasn't like sickening, because sometimes I'm like, absolutely not. But I felt like it was okay. It was okay. I didn't hate it. I hate it. This book, it's bigger for sure. I don't really know how many page, how like what the page difference is, but it's definitely bigger than Lord of the Wilds, and it felt like the fast pacedness of Lord of the Wilds was missing. This one was slower and kind of meandering in different ways and in different situations, whereas things felt like they were done and wrapped up pretty quickly in Lord of the Wilds. This one was definitely more descriptive and drawn out in some ways, and that kind of took me out of it at times. Like, not completely where I was disinterested, but like, okay, that's enough, friend. Like, we can move on now. Yeah, I'm fine with us moving on now. One of my favorite characters from Lord of the Wild was Finn, and for some reason, at the first big portion of this book, Finn was nowhere to be found, and I'm like, where's Finn? We need Finn. Like, he is also a very large part of this story. And I'm like, how are we this far in this book and we ain't heard from Finn? Where he at? where you because like no, don't do my favorite character like that. Absolutely not. He deserved his book time. I mean, he eventually got it. I just feel like with the with the situation with the love triangle, it feels like one character was here and he was with Laura and they were doing their thing, and you never heard from the other character until it was his time to be with Laura and doing their thing. No, I wanted them to be together all in the same room, all like giving shady looks and like basically fighting over Laura. If you're gonna give us a love triangle, put them against each other face to face. Like don't like separate them. Like yeah, give us the competition. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I want to see. I want to see them like not necessarily like fist fighting and like arguing, but like see the other person apply pressure to Laura. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm messy like that. Like not in real life anymore, but like for sure in books. Like give me this. That's what I wanted, and I felt like that was missing from the love triangle aspect in both of these books. Which I mean, it don't have to be messy. Like clearly, and Annalisa Brana did not want to give us mess, but I just like a little drama, you know. So Lex and I buddy read this book, okay, and we she started it before I did, and so we when we both got to this scene, I text her like, "What is actually happening?" She was like, "No, I put the book down at that point because like I was so upset like I couldn't even like." Okay, so there's this big plot moving scene, like it's some stuff happening, like we locked in for real, like it's happening, and then it's just interrupted by Laura having sexy thoughts, and I'm gonna leave it at that, sexy time thoughts about a man. Friend, I don't care. And I'm the first one to love a spicy scene, a smutty scene. Yeah. But in the middle of the plot happening, friend, I was so upset. It's like we interrupted the plot for to like go into Laura's mind and she in here lusting over this man. And I'm like, absolutely not. Get me back to the plot. And it lasted for a page upon page upon page upon page. She was still going. I'm like, what? We dropping plot points for inner monologues about lust about a man. Get out of my face. I was so mad. I was so mad. Like, don't do that to me. It feels like the main conflict of this book was rushed, which I really ugh, like frustrates me a little bit because that's the main part of the book, and you're gonna rush that for whatever reason. And it just, I hate when that happens. Like, you're giving us so much information about other stuff that doesn't even really matter, but then the actual main conflict is resolved so easily and so quickly that it's kind of just like a brush by. I'm like, why is that the main thing then? Why are you gonna make it the main thing if you're not going to like flesh it out for real and like make it, do that make sense? It might not, but I know it's okay. For the most part, I feel like this took the plot a lot of different places that I was not expecting. There were twists, there were turns. I was shocked. I was flabbergasted, which I love in the book. Like, yeah, like shock me. Yeah, love that. And I felt like the ending of it all was very realistic and very fitting. It made sense. It wasn't completely tied up in a nice bow, but like that's realistic. Most things aren't. So I really enjoyed that it gave us a realistic ending. And I know it sounded like I didn't like this book in some places. And while it did have some issues, I really enjoyed this story and how Annalisa Brana did it. And I rated this a 4 star. Like, I liked this book better than I liked Lord of the Wilds. I'm not saying that it's not without its issues, but I also want to recognize that this is a debut series and debut books. And I think that if this is how she is starting out, I am very excited to read what she's going to give us, in the future, and as a more seasoned writer, and like, yeah, she's gonna be here. Yeah, she's gonna give us things, and I'm really excited to read more of her stories. I think her writing is good, and she has good ideas, and she can do a plot twist, friend. She can shock you, and it still makes sense. Like, she's not just pulling stuff out of the air that doesn't make sense. Like, her plot twists, while you may not see them coming, they make sense. That makes sense. And so, yeah, I had a good time with this book and this series. So, overall, I had a great time, and I will be recommending this series going forward. And that, my friends, is going to wrap up this romantasy reading vlog. Let's do a little quick recap, and then I'm going to get on about your way. We read For Whom the Bell Tolls. That was a 4.5 star. We ended up DNFing Terror at the Gates. We read The Rose Bargain, and The Rose Bargain was a 4 star. And then we ended with Lord of the Wilds at a 3.5 and Lord of the Tides at a 4 star. And overall, I had a great time reading these books, and I definitely recommend them out. I would say with Terror of the Gates, if it sounds good to you, then give it a shot. It just wasn't for me. And, it just wasn't for me. And anyway, thank you so much for staying to the end of this video. Thank you for watching, commenting, sharing, subscribing, liking, anything that you did to support me and my channel. I greatly appreciate it, friend. Remember to take care of yourself. I hope you have the best day that you possibly can. And I will catch you in the next video. Bye.